God damn it.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth. And the truth. You'll set you free.
Yeah, you keep calling me Mr. Seiler. I'm like, oh my God, I'm old. All right. My dad is Mr. Seiler. Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Face the Truth. We've got a spooky one for you this time. I'm so excited to talk with my guest this week. She is an amazing, talented young artist. Very young because she calls me Mr. Seiler. And don't worry, I need to start using some more lotion, obviously. I got a little skin issue happening here. But happy Halloween to everybody out there. Hope everyone's safe and having a good time. But I'm so excited about this artist, to talk to her. I first became aware of her work, I think through Travis Louie had me speak at their school, their college. And I saw her work and I started following her work. Her work is incredible. It's I find it very inspiring, and also just interesting and creative. And also the technique is something to respect. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. But anyways, everyone, please welcome Juliet Schreckinger.
It is so awesome to be on with you. I'm just so honored to hear that coming from you is like ridiculous, and I just look up to you and respect you so much. So thank you so much for having me. It's a real honor to be here.
Oh man, I really appreciate it. That's awesome. No, seriously, I really love your work. To be honest, here's something. First of all, I got to say this. I'll tell you this in a minute, but for years now, I've been entering shows into Society of Illustrators, and to be honest, I'm not entering this year. And I'll tell everybody why I'm not. People might get pissed at me, people at the Society of Illustrators, but I saw the last couple of years, the posters for Society of Illustrators have been so bad that I feel like, is this serious? Is this a serious show? I mean, the poster for this year's Society of Illustrator looks like a child that drew a picture of a dog, and it's just terrible. I'm just being honest. There is nothing compelling or inspiring, and I'm trying to be a professional here.
Yeah.
And this show used to be the show for illustration, and that's what the poster is. And last year's poster was not any better. And this year, and to be honest, like I was really excited. I wanted to enter my time cover that I did last year. I thought, oh, this is going to be a good year for that. And I just, I don't even know why I'm talking about this, but I'm just putting it out there because it's weird, Yeah. But anyways, for years now, I've been going to the shows. And last year, I judged the Society of Illustrators West show. Wow. And there was a lot of work that I was like, what's happening with illustration? I don't understand. But I got to tell you, the student category there was better work in the student category than there was in a lot of the professionals. And I'm not joking. It was amazing. There was so much work that I'm like, I have hope for the future. Okay. And again, I don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to diss Society of Illustrators. I respect the people that run it and everything. Both New York and LA, they're not affiliated, but I still respect them. I just felt like, I don't know. I don't feel good about this. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Have a better poster for fuck's sake.
It's fair. That's fair.
Show some respect. Anyways, enough with that rant. My point is that you give me hope for the future because your work is like, it's, first of all, when did you start? Because you seem like you could be my daughter, and your work is like, you look like you've been doing it for like 20 something years. I mean, it's a very precise technique. Is it all pointillism, like the entire thing?
Not the entire thing. So my work, the main characters and the areas of deep contrast are completely stipple and ink, and the backgrounds are usually brushed graphite. So it's like it's a graphite technique.
That's awesome. And where did you pick this up? Did you just from going to school? Like someone taught you and you learned something?
Weirdly enough, no, I've never been taught the stipple thing. I'm like, side note, I'm like flustered. I don't even know what to say after you complimenting me like that, but thank you. First of all, thank you. And second, yeah, no, it wasn't really like I was taught specifically stipple. I had a few great teachers growing up. I got mentored by a lovely woman, Susan Brandsma, in acrylic painting before college. And that's kind of how I moved into SVA. And Susan taught me how to paint, how to use contrast, value, all of that good stuff. And I just sort of picked up the stippling thing based on loving vintage black and white photography. That's like really where it came from.
That is amazing. That's awesome. And then you also had Travis Louie as a teacher, and like, dude,
yes,
you know,
the
it's
king.
You know, it's funny. I'll tell you a really quick story about him is, so years ago, I was selling my first book. I think it was like 2006 or 7. And I was at the San Diego Comic-Con and I was standing next to Travis Louie. I didn't know who he was or anything. But someone like literally handed me his card and he was standing right next to me. And I remember going, whoa, this is awesome. Like what in the, like, because it was just such a cool looking style and everything. And I was like, wow, who is this? And he was standing right there. And I like was like, hey man, check this out. Like I was, and then he's like, that's me. That's my work. And I'm like, what?
That's amazing.
And so that's when I first met him. And then, you know, and then he liked my work. And then it turned out that we have a mutual friend, Fred Harper in New York. He's like one of my best friends and he's one of Travis's best friends.
Yep.
So then we hung out together in New York and everything. And I just love Travis. He sent me a copy of his book and it was, I'm sure you've seen his handwriting.
Oh, it's the best thing in the world. It's the best thing in the world.
Like when I first opened the book, I didn't realize that he dedicated the, like, or not, like, what would you call it? Like not dedicate, like he wrote like a really nice thing in the book to me and did a drawing. I didn't even notice. I thought it was a part of the book because it was so amazing looking. And there's like a few weeks later, I'm looking at it again. I'm like, wait, that says James. What? And I called him or wrote him. I'm like, dude, that's amazing. Yeah, he's awesome, man. I
honestly could talk about Travis for hours. Like Travis changed my life. There is like what I was saying before was pre-college, like college to now. Travis literally like made me into the person that I am. Like he is a mentor, teacher, friend. I mean, I talked to him right before this. Like I can't tell you the respect and love I have for Travis Louie. My work looks like it does because of Travis.
Yeah, I mean, he's that's amazing to have a teacher like that. It really is.
He's unreal. Yeah. He's unreal.
Yeah, he's so cool. Like I had him on the podcast and it was, I have to have him on again because like talking to him about art stuff is just like, I mean, he's just, his mind doesn't stop and like he knows everything about everything. Everything
that I will say something and he's like, oh, you mean this? And he'll like recite like these facts. I'm like, Travis, man, you're just you're a book encyclopedia. He's fabulous.
This is from the Baroque period. You know, like
exactly.
How did it break? No, you dummy. This is a period when, you know, like,
no, he's hilarious.
I'll tell you where the ponytail came from. This is where the ponytail came from.
Exactly. Exactly.
Every fact. Yeah. So when did you start getting interested in art? Like when did that happen? Because how old are you, by the way? You're young enough that it's okay to ask a woman how old you are.
My birthday was Tuesday. I turned 22.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
But yes, I'm 22 as of this week.
Well, happy birthday.
To answer your previous question, I started before I literally like even remember. I just little kid, just always drawing. There's pictures of me like 2 years old, like scribbling. It's just literally all I've ever wanted to do.
That's awesome. That's like me. Same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't really remember a time where I didn't,
That's
it's
awesome.
yeah. Yeah. Did you have a lot of friends when you were growing up, or was it like, were you just isolated and just alone and drawing and like, why does that no one like me? Because that's kind of like that's kind of
Honestly,
what my
yes.
childhood was like. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely was like kind of a loner a lot of the time. And even when I was around groups of kids, I'd say I like deep down didn't really feel like I maybe fit in perfectly. And I think it takes a lot of time to do a very technical piece, and sometimes people socially don't understand like the staying up till 3 a.m. every night getting it done,
Yeah, no, for sure. No, I had a rough childhood as far as school, because I got picked on so much. I was afraid to go to school sometimes, but it was crazy because I was so obsessed with my art that I felt, I don't know if you can relate to this, but I kind of felt like it was like a superpower. And when kids picked on me, I was like, you have no idea who you're picking on. I'm Jason Seiler. Like I was, as a kid, that's what I thought in my mind.
Yeah.
It was, I realized now that it was like a way that I was protecting myself from like feeling like total crap all the time.
Yeah.
Like there's something good about me.
No, and I'm sorry to hear you went through that, because
yeah.
honestly, that's painful, and I can definitely relate. Like, especially I'd say in high school, I really, I was definitely went through times like that, and art is just, it's a gift to have in life, and it's definitely the thing I turn to always through anything.
Yeah, I know. It's funny. Like when I painted I did the Pope for Time magazine.
Oh, it's amazing. I've seen it.
Oh, thank you.
It's amazing.
It was a weird experience because I got all these interviews, like different people were interviewing me. And the funniest thing happened I think it's funny anyways, is I was driving to Nashville, I think, to hang out with some friends. And I got called by so first of all, I have not been back to my high school since I graduated in 1996. Okay. I have not, not even been to that town. Like I was like, yeah, that's how bad it was. Okay.
Wow. I'm so sorry.
They contacted me. It's fine. Like it's how I'm here, it's part of, it's like how people are sculpted, it's like, it wasn't fun. I would never want, like, I hate high school movies. I'm like,
me too.
Cringes. Yeah.
I so relate to you. That's crazy.
And, but my town, Eau Claire, Wisconsin, called me while I'm in the car driving to Nashville, and my wife was driving. And actually I was driving, and then they wanted to do an interview live on channel 11, Eau Claire News or whatever. And it was hilarious because we pulled over and my wife starts driving, and I'm like interviewing on the phone about my Pope cover. And they're so proud, of this, their son from Eau Claire, and I just literally told them, when they're asking me like, you're from Eau Claire and all this kind of stuff. And they're asking me like, they're trying to get me to say something amazing about Eau Claire. And I was like, yeah, I haven't been back since I left. I pretty much hated it. And I got picked on and made fun of for being an artist. There's only so many times I can be called like an art fag and thrown down some stairs before, it's like, so
yes.
But I was literally saying that on the news.
Good. Honestly, good.
and they were, you could hear their voice. They're like, yeah. So I won't be going to any high school reunions. Like I've never been invited, so it's not going to be a problem.
Wow.
Anyways, this is a weird conversation, but anyways, no, but
no, it's relatable, man. I get it.
Yeah. So I can totally picture you as a kid, just like, I mean, to me, like you're my people. That's like,
aww.
That's why we end up where we are. Like, I don't think you get that good from, just like, I've met a lot of people. They're like, oh, I wish I could do what you do. And it's like, no, I don't think you do.
Yeah, it's a lot of hours.
Because you like to hang out with people way too much, Yep.
I have absolutely like no time for that. Like people, and people joke with me about it. They'll be like, oh, Juliet's so antisocial. Juliet has this and that. And I'm like, no, man, I just like what I do. And I'm really dedicated to it. It's not personal. It's just, and I think especially in high school that could be tough because kids like to pick on you. Kids like to point fingers, Yeah.
And but I think it's something to be commended that you were able to have that kind of a focus and drive because, most high school kids, especially now, oh my gosh, like this, it sounds so old even talking about this, but like the internet came out when I was in high school. Okay. So we didn't have, like, we didn't have any smartphones. We didn't have none of that stuff. Like we actually had to go to the library to like check out books to write our papers. We had no Google, it's just,
that's crazy.
Like, when I graduated high school, we were still crying and grieving the death of Kurt Cobain, like I was just telling someone the other day that was like our 9/11,
Wow. I can imagine. That's crazy.
Yeah. Actually, a friend of mine said that. I got to use that in a joke. He's like, yeah, that was like your 9/11. I was like, yeah, it was, man.
Oh,
but like now I can't imagine like I have more respect for you in this time. This is why I said I was worried. I'm less worried because of, like I said, when I was judging that show, so many young artists were like doing such great work.
wow.
So it's pretty awesome that to have that kind of focus, and your parents must be happy because you're like, they don't have to worry that you're not out all the time at night. Like, I know where she is.
Yeah, I would say that they have not ever had to worry about me. No, they are amazing parents. Actually, I'm super close to my parents. They're so supportive of me as an artist. And I would like come home crying from school, feeling like so weird and like, am I wasting my like childhood? Like, am I wasting all my life? And they would be like, no, take a breath, like go do your thing, like you got this. And I'm very blessed to have them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so back to your work is one of the things I love about your work is there's having strong drawing skills, the technical aspect, but then once you understand that, like, where do you take it from there? Like, where aesthetically, like, what can you do, and you already have such a strong aesthetic and voice, like you can tell right away, it's like one of your works, like right away. But one of the things I love about it is the strong design elements and the different ways you combine animals and creatures together, a lot of sea life and different things. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about like how you come up with your concepts, like for these designs, because they're so awesome. It's like you need to be making t-shirts that, like, you know what I mean?
You're too nice to me. You're amazing. You're way too much credit, man. You're honestly, you're awesome.
I'm being honest.
I do not know that I deserve all that, but thank you for feeling that way. I'm very honored and humbled. But no, my designs, I think, again, it's funny, but a lot of my answers have to do with him. Back to Travis, like he taught me about a lot of the bigger shapes in my work. So a lot of the times my work will actually start with, I want to do a piece about a specific animal. So it starts there. Like I'll say, okay, I want this piece to be about whales and I want, this element to be in it. Let's say a lighthouse, because I do reference lighthouses a lot in my work. Symbolic, they mean a lot to me. So if I know the elements, then Travis and a few other teachers have kind of taught me, start with the big shapes. Almost if you squint your eyes, like, let's make this look good as a cohesive piece. And then what can we do to help it tell the story? So I'll start there. Usually I do start with like the animals. It's not just like I sketch. I don't know how to put that into words well, but yeah, it does start with the animals and the idea first, and then the bigger shapes.
And do you do like a lot of like thumbnail ideas and
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really big into sketching and getting a very nice final draft and final sketch.
No, because that's another thing too that I really like is that your work has really nice design quality to it.
Thank you.
It's awesome. And here's another thing I like. I'm not trying to blow tons of smoke up your ass, but
you're way too nice.
I'm obsessed with sharks. I love sharks so much. They're like one of my favorite things ever on the planet.
Me
Like I
too.
still remember the first time I saw a real shark in person. I was just like, they're
Wow.
real. There's something
That's-
about them. I don't know. Like, and I think sharks are sexy, and people think that's weird when I say that, but they are.
Yes, they are
They're,
sexy.
they're
Damn.
perfect. They're like they're smooth, like the dynamic, the
Yes.
way they move.
Yes.
They're just like these amazing things that I don't know, man.
They're perfect.
I love. Yeah, they are. They're like the perfect thing, man. Like great whites. Oh my
I
gosh.
agree.
But anyways, you live by the ocean, right?
I
'Cause
do.
I've seen some pictures. Okay, so that's obviously you grew up there.
Yep. That's
So,
definitely where it comes
yeah.
from.
So that's one of the coolest things is there's so much, like you can see that, like the love for that, you know, in the work.
Aw.
It's pretty awesome.
Thank you.
So is there like what's your, what I'm curious is, you've got so much work too. Like, are you still in school right now?
I am. I'm finished May 2nd. And to be
Oh,
honest,
wow.
I can't wait. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of like working a full-time art gig outside of the school stuff. But you know, I definitely see the value in finishing school, and especially at a school like SVA. So I did want to hang strong till the end and
Yeah.
get that degree.
I'm an art school dropout, so
Honestly, I wish I was that brave. I do.
Well,
I wish I was brave.
I do just stick through it, you know, because it's funny. I always wanted to go to art school, but
Mhm.
you know, when I turned 18, I moved to Chicago, and lots of crazy stuff happened. We don't want to go there. But anyways, eventually I was working already as a professional illustrator on my own,
Mhm.
self-taught and everything. And what I ended up doing was bringing my portfolio to the American Academy of Art in Chicago, just to see if I could take a couple classes, because I was so stressed out. The deadlines, it was insane.
Yep.
And so I went there. I'm like, is there a way I could take a class that could, teach me how to become faster, or, whatever.
Yep.
And they were like, no, you have to do the whole thing, basically.
Mhm.
And I was like, man, I can't do that, because I had a 1-year-old baby at the time, and I was already working professionally.
Wow.
But then they offered me a couple grants and a small scholarship, and so I was like, ah. So I went for like 2 years, and I basically just did my gen eds. And I did like fundamental drawing classes and life drawing. That's basically all I did. I didn't do anything in my major. If it was illustration, I was going to switch it to fine art.
Mhm.
And the funny thing to me about it is I ended up going to New York, and then I met all these art directors, and every single person's like, why are you going to school? Like, and I was wondering the entire time, like, what am I doing? Like,
Same.
so then I ended up quitting and just going full speed into my illustration. But I got to tell you, the thing I really got out of art school was, first of all, it was great hanging out with other artists, and I love drawing. Life drawing was amazing.
Yeah.
I learned a lot from life drawing, just about drawing and painting in general, like just how things really react with lighting. And it's one of my daughters.
Aw.
Stop crying. But basically, what I was gonna say is, the thing I really got out of art school was the gen eds that I had to take. Like the writing classes, speech classes. Like I had to get up and do essays.
Yeah.
Because the one thing that I really needed was at that time, I know it's hard to believe, but I had a very difficult time talking to people, especially art directors. I would get scared.
Yep.
I'd be on the phone with like the Wall Street Journal, and I didn't think of them as humans. I thought of them as the Wall Street Journal. They're like, and I didn't realize that most art directors, they're just people. They're just doing their job, and they're not like these intimidating. But at the time, I was stuttering, and I was like afraid, and I would like write things down so I could try to just read it off the paper. But after going to art school and doing these classes, next time I went to New York, I was able to like talk to the art directors. So I do recommend, I think that was the most important thing I got out of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're almost there. So
I am. I almost, it's difficult school. for all the reasons you just said, I completely agree. And I definitely had that experience as well. I'm a very nervous person. I was nervous to come on the podcast, to be honest. I get nervous when I speak. But I think school has pushed me out of my comfort zone a lot in that way. And I think it's very healthy.
Yeah.
Even if it's not school, just whatever you're doing to push out of your comfort zone a little bit. And for me, it's social interactions all the time, crits, everything have really pushed me out of that comfort zone. And, you know, I got an amazing teacher this year. The two teachers that really made a difference at SVA were Travis and this year Steve Brodner, who I've had previously, and he's my main mentor, like portfolio teacher. So I mean, I'm very close with him as well, and he's pushed me out of my comfort zone. He, you know, if you know Steve Brodner, he's just he's an amazing human.
I know him very well. I have a lot of respect. Like you saying, awesome. Oh, my teachers are like Steve Brodner and Travis Louie. That's like,
I know.
Like I'm like new at I'm doing stand-up comedy. That'd be like me saying, oh, like my my like mentors are, well, actually that's just, that sounds stupid what I was about to say. I was gonna say like Bill Burr, Tom Segura, or like Joe Rogan, but the truth is I'm like friends with Kevin Nealon and Steve Byrne, and they're like some of the best in the world. So I think even Steven, you know, you got Brodner and Travis Louie. I'm friends with Kevin Nealon and Steve Byrne, so I guess it works out. But it's just funny that, I mean, how many students can say that they have Steve Brodner and Travis Louie?
I shake my head all the time. I just feel like ridiculous. I'm like, is this real life? I have to like pinch myself when I talk to them. Like I'm like, is this real life? Like I like pressure? Idolize you.
Because that's got to be a lot of pressure.
It is. It's
like you don't want to suck, you know.
No, you don't. You do not want to suck, and I do not want to suck in their class because, you know, like they're legends. Like I don't want to leave them with a bad taste in their mouth of like me, you know. And it's but in a good way. Like they're both of them, I can honestly say, are like two of the most genuine, helpful, and like non-biased teachers I've ever met. Like they are there for the right reason. They want the students to be good, and they want them to have a career, and they will go out of their way to let you know that and be there for you. I can't say enough how much like respect I have for both Travis and Steve.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was a huge fan of Steve Brodner's like way before I met him. He was one of my art heroes. Okay. And I still like love, I mean, his work is like, I'm not a huge fan of a lot of caricature art. But his stuff still continues to inspire me. I just love it. I love everything about it. Yeah. And it's really interesting. Like years ago, like, gosh, maybe 17, 18 years ago, I sent him an email or something like that. I think it was an email. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I just was like, how I see your work everywhere. Mm-hmm. Like, how do you do this? Like, how, like, I was like, I just like, you know, I didn't know what else. I'm just like, how am I seeing you in like every magazine? And he wrote me back. He said, Jason, call me. And he had his number. And I'm like, he didn't even know me. Okay. He did not know my work or anything. Wow. And because I was struggling, you know, I was like getting published like twice a year, and I'm like doing private commissions, and it was hard. Yeah. And it was pissing me off that I kept seeing CF Payne and Roberto Parada and Steve Brodner and all these amazing illustrators. I'm like, how are they doing this? Yep. Why am I not getting, no one's, you know, I can't get no respect, you know? And so basically he said, call me. And I was so scared to call him, but I called him and we talked for like an hour and a half. Like I said, he didn't even know who I was. And he just like gave me all this encouragement and all this. It was amazing. And then the next time I met him in person, this was years later after I've started becoming, you know, getting my work out there more. I went to the Society of Illustrators, and he recognized me, and he goes, he kept, this is funny because I can't stand when people call me Jason Sealer. It drives me nuts. And he's like, Jason Sealer, you're Jason Sealer. And I'm like, yeah. And then he gathered all these people that were, he's like, oh, you gotta meet this young young amazing artist Jason Sealer, his work. He started saying all these nice things about my work, and I was trying like to like, you know, it was hard because I'm like, I can't believe he knows me and he likes my work, but he's calling
Can't
me
correct him.
Jason
Yeah.
Sealer. Like, stop.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. But yeah, no,
Aw.
you are lucky though. That's amazing. You know?
No, I am. I like I said, I can't say a bad thing about either of those two people. I mean, they're just the best, and they have your best interests at heart as a student, and it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
The way they give back like that.
That is awesome. That's really awesome. And so what you're going to graduate in May, and here's the thing that I was saying earlier, like you've got so much work. You have a really nice portfolio.
Thank you.
You know, I've also gone to art schools and done portfolio reviews, and again, like sometimes it's so discouraging. Like I'm like looking at seniors' work, and afterwards, like the dean will say, "So what did you think?" And I'm like, "I think maybe you should have had me come when they were freshmen." Because these people are going to be working at Starbucks the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Like, it's
that's
like,
tough.
like they're graduating from art school and this is what their work looks like.
Yeah.
But you already have such a portfolio. And the thing is one thing I try to tell college students whenever I can talk to them is, you know, you after going to art school, you need to have a whole new portfolio because art directors don't want to see still lifes. They don't want to see life drawings, right? But you already have this amazing thing, and is that part of their program is to help prepare that? Because I don't know, I don't normally see that in college students, you know?
Yeah, it's I don't know how to answer it without sounding a bit like harsh maybe, but nothing in my portfolio or that is posted on my Instagram was made at school.
Oh, okay.
None of it. Like I said, I'm very fortunate to have Travis as a sort of mentor, and I've, you know, had more private setting lessons with him where he'll help me towards this very specific goals that I have in the gallery world or in the illustration world. And I've been fortunate enough to have Steve Brodner work with me on my senior portfolio project. He's not really making me do some of the standard projects. He is working with me and letting me, you know, do things that I'm going to use in the real world as my project, because I presented to him a very specific thing, and to have his eyes on it makes it that much better. So in that way, I'm very fortunate. And that's maybe why I go on so much about those two teachers specifically, because they understand my real goals and very specifically the odd kind of career path that I very specifically want. So no, I have not really made any of my
that's
portfolio
incredible.
at school.
That's really great, because, you know, you're setting yourself up to already be steps ahead of other people, because it is not easy making it as an illustrator. And so, but what are your future plans with like gallery work, and like what are you wanting to do with this art stuff?
Good question. It's definitely something I have to think about a lot lately. My goals would be, you know, I guess a similar career path to like Travis took with the gallery route. I have set up some really amazing relationships thanks to them with gallerists that show my work right now. And I do have 2 solo shows lined up for 2022 at the end after school. So that's really the jump off start in my career. And I think from there, I just hope to continue to be able to show in galleries, do illustration work on the side, you know, like character design or anything that's needed at that time, I hope to do. And I guess I just really want to further my career and be able to work with organizations that I really love, like Pangea Seed, Surf Rider Foundation, and get to a point in my work where I'm able to work with these nonprofits that I really am passionate about.
That's awesome. Yeah, see, you again, hope for the future.
Oh, you give me way too much credit. You really
no. You don't. You trust me. I have teenage daughters. And not that I'm saying I don't have hope for them in the future. I'm saying that, like, I know how teenagers are, and as a father, you're just like, you know, I'm always like, so what do you want to do? You know, like what's, you know, what do you, and you know, it's you, and not just my kids. I'm like even other kids I've talked to. So
Yeah.
I don't know, you know, whatever, you know. It's just I like that you've got like focus and
Aw.
it's good. It's good to hear. Your parents are,
Thank
I'm
you.
sure, are very proud, which is awesome.
Aw, thank you.
Yeah, my parents hate me. No, just kidding.
Aw.
I'm joking. My parents are
Aw.
awesome. I just felt like saying something stupid. Um, so what I'm curious about,
Mhm.
you obviously like this is really, I'm really excited for you because I think that you're going to do some really cool things, and I'm excited to see what you continue to do. I'm curious, like it'd be fun to, if you don't mind, just
Yeah.
share some of the process of, like, let's say you start, you know, you're starting a new piece.
Mhm.
Like how would you go about, like from beginning to end, like technically and everything?
Sure.
Yeah, because here's another thing too,
Absolutely.
is you're working traditionally,
Yeah.
which again is like, the digital thing has taken over,
Yeah.
and there's not very many people still doing the digital thing, so, or the traditional thing.
Yeah.
So I think people would be interested to hear how you approach all that.
Yeah, sure. To be honest with you, as a second answer, I am like the worst digitally. So I definitely struggle with technology. So that's a plus to the way that I work. I definitely work very old school, from what I've heard from more old school style people. So I will start with an idea, as I mentioned earlier, and I will sketch out a bunch of thumbnails. And when I get a composition that I really like, I will make a very finished looking sketch that shows my values that I could basically look at as now my new reference. And to take even a further step back, I do like to shoot a lot of my own reference. So like if you see lighthouses, if you see birds, like it's probably reference that I shot, or that my mom shot. She's a professional photographer, so a lot of my reference comes from her. So
That's
after I
awesome.
compile that, yeah, no, she's amazing. I'm lucky to have her. She gets a lot of my bird reference. But so after
Oh,
I
it's cool.
compile all that, I'll make a very finished sketch that's now my new reference, and I will put it into like an old school projector, and I project it onto my good paper, like my finished. I use Arches paper always because I find it takes the ink well. So I'll
Yeah.
take my sketch, project it onto the Arches paper so that I'm not wasting any good paper. It's clean, and I'll put a very light outline, and then I will go right into it. I always start with the ink, and I will start with the darkest areas of the stipple and work my way to the lightest areas. And then when I'm done with that, I will jump into the graphite, and all the midtones are done in graphite. And that's really how I work.
So you start first with like the dark contrast. You put that
Yep.
down, and then that's pretty cool. And
Yeah.
what kind of ink are you? Is it like an FW ink, or
It
like a?
is Sakura microns. If you know Sakura, I'm sure you do.
Oh, so you're actually using the pen. You're not doing pen and ink. You're doing like the little like.
Some are pen and ink, like the bigger areas are like I have used it pen and ink, but lately I've found that I work closely with Sakura in a lot of ways, and they've sent me some products. So I do use their pens pretty exclusively.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I
Already a
really love them.
sponsorship.
I don't know how to say
Man.
that, but like they have sent me some product, and I
Yeah,
exclusively use Sakura these days.
that's
But
awesome.
I like them because they're archival, and
Mm.
unlike other like gel inks, they're like true pigment Indian ink in a basically just filtered through a tube, which is awesome.
And now you said they're waterproof,
They
or
are.
they. So my experience, because I used to do tons of pen and ink. That was like my favorite thing, was actually like the dipping in, and but like, you know, a lot of the inks that I was using, they always said waterproof, but they weren't really waterproof because it would always like leak a little bit. But then I discovered, do you know who Mort Drucker is?
I've heard the name.
He's like one of the most famous like Mad magazine guys for like,
Okay.
yeah, really, he did like the movie parodies and stuff. But I heard that he used FW ink, and so I was like, well, if he uses it, you know, and and I went and I you know, bought like, you know, a big bottle of it and everything. But that stuff's actually really amazing because it's acrylic based, so it really is waterproof. Like, and I love that because I would do like ink drawings and then do watercolor washes.
That's awesome.
But anyways, So how large are you working on these pieces? Are they huge? I mean, it's hard to tell because like you've got like a lot of them are like a square format.
Yes.
Like
They're
Instagram
all different.
size.
They're exactly. Well, they're all different. I've done pieces as big. I don't know if I have here. I've done like some 36 by 24 pieces. I've done 5x7s. I more go by the show because lately I haven't really had a lot of time for personal work between school and the galleries. And a lot of the galleries will say like, please be between 12 by 12 and 20 by 20 for this show, or it's a small base show. So I kind of go by that, but I would say on average, I'm working around like 11 by 14 to 10 by 10. I like squares, as you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, it works for what you're doing like perfectly.
Thank you.
And you have enough now, you could do like a series show, like no problem. And then in the future, like everything from now on is triangles,
Yes.
Like,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So what was I going to ask you? So you've got the size thing with these prints, but what I was going to ask is, this was going to ask what that is. So obviously you've got these originals that you can sell, which that's one thing, a lot of people have asked me about, like you do, because I do all of my editorial digitally because
that's amazing.
It's insane. The deadlines are insane. And I'm like, there's no way I'm not getting paid enough to do a traditional piece. That's how I feel about it. Because I take my time when I do traditional. It takes way longer. And I don't want to be stressed out when I'm working on a deadline. So the digital stuff helps me to be able to work faster and everything.
But your digital looks traditional. It's crazy.
I do
like
the
you've
same
mastered
techniques.
that.
I do.
It's
Well, thank
crazy.
you. I do the same techniques, basically the same. I do like underpaintings and but I've worked a long time to try to get, I want it to feel the same as my traditional as much as possible, if I can.
And if I can say, it really does. Like in my opinion, it's amazing that some of those are digital. It's unreal.
Oh, thank you. No, that's a good thing to hear. But for you, the cool, and that's the thing is like, people are like, oh, you should be doing some of these digital, I've had some opportunities that have been kind of a bummer. Like someone from Time Magazine wants to buy my painting or someone from Rolling Stone. And then they're like, I'm like, well, I did it digitally. And in my mind, I'm like, duh, like,
well, that's how real it looks. No one knows,
but then I'm like, crazy. Oh, and I can make a nice print. And they're like, nah. It's like, oh, well, but the cool thing about what you're doing is that you have originals to sell, but you can also I'm sure you scan them and then you can sell prints. So it just it can keep generating some cash on that. Do you have like a store like on your site, right? On your website?
I do. That's why I don't have to have, thankfully, other things going right now, and I can focus on my art. Is the prints and the stickers are very kind of the bread and butter, I feel like, behind a lot of artists who work traditionally. It's pretty awesome. I'm very, very grateful for anyone who buys from my shop. It's really cool.
You should do a Patreon. Have you thought about that?
That is like if I have a whiteboard and it's like actually right behind this computer, and like the number one thing that I have on it to do for myself the day I graduate, like the next week, I want to make a Patreon.
I feel terrible because I've told people I'm going to start one about a year ago. And I haven't done it yet.
Oh, you have to.
And well, I want to, but the problem, there's been a lot of changes in my life in the last couple of years, and we moved and all this kind of stuff. So I want to do it, but I want to be able to do it in a way where I know I can actually commit to a certain thing. Cause I'm doing so many things that, like it's hard to it's hard to balance all this stuff, so
can't imagine.
But the Patreon thing, what I want to do is I basically want to, for like, I was thinking of keeping it simple, like just doing like $5 a month and I'll give you like a few hours of painting every month. You just watch me paint.
That's amazing. And people would pay for that.
Seems worth it. But I don't want to do some of those people have like all those, like,
the tiers,
$10, I'll dance for you. It's like I'm not dancing, like, no. So I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with that, but you should definitely do it. That's going to be great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was telling my wife, I showed her your work, and I was telling her like she needs to have t-shirts, like, because like, to be honest, like a lot of like I see like that kind of stuff like an Etsy or gosh, what's that other, there's something else, I can't remember what it's called, but it's always so cheesy. Like I would never, I'm not even the kind of person that would buy art on t-shirts, but some of those images are like, that would be a great t-shirt,
Aww,
you definitely
you're so nice.
I want to encourage you. You're gonna have to, because here's the thing. The one thing you're gonna learn real quick is you have to hustle. You have to, you're gonna always have to hustle as an artist. Like you have to figure out what to do, like where I can take this, what, that's the thing. Once you've got the skills, what do I do with it? Aesthetics is so important,
Absolutely.
And also, work ethic and everything. But you're doing pretty good, kid.
I hope so. I hope so.
I'm not too worried. I have before I forget here.
Yeah.
I have a fan question for you. From Addison Stacy. Do you know who that is?
Sounds very familiar. I'm like horrible with names. Sometimes I even forget the names of friends, but
I'm not sure. I was just asking if you knew, because I don't know who this person is either. So I don't know. Maybe you know each other, but she has a question for you. So I'm going to play this question for you.
Awesome.
Let's see if this works.
Which material do you prefer working on, or what's your favorite way to see your art? How do you seal your work on skateboards and surfboards? What are some goals you have for your art activism? And what is a dream project or collaboration for you?
Wow, amazing questions.
Yeah.
So the first one, to answer her first question, my favorite, I believe it was material to work on. My favorite material to work on these days is paper. But as you mentioned, I do work on surfboards and skateboards, usually for auctions these days. How I seal my work when I work on skateboards and surfboards is with Krylon crystal enamel, and I will spray a bunch of layers on the boards. And I do find that it holds up, and I will sand them down and spray it again a few different times. A little tricky with the surfboards. You got to make sure that the fiberglass is sanded properly.
And that shit will get you high.
Yes, outside only. Only. Got to wait for a nice day.
I've gotten headaches from that stuff, man. It's anyways, continue.
Thank you. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm like forgetting the third question.
I can look it up. She wrote the questions to me, but then I asked her, I'm like, could you do the audio, because it's just more fun.
That is fun. She was a wonderful speaker too.
Yeah. Let me check my emails here. Check my technologies. Where are you? Okay. Yeah. So how do you seal it? So what are some of the goals you have for your art activism?
I would say the main goals I have are to continue with certain relationships that I have with the Pangea Seed Foundation, the Surfrider Foundation, and a Walk on Water, and continuing working with those charities that are very close to my heart and nonprofits. And I would say for the future, to get my art maybe on some platforms that have a very strong voice. Like I've had the opportunity to do three activism murals over the Long Beach Boardwalk this past year. And I think doing things like that can bring a lot of awareness when it's centered around a place where people leave a lot of garbage and it directly affects animals. So more opportunities like that would be something that I would love to work towards.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
really cool. Let's see. Oh, and then you are not a normal 22-year-old, by the way.
You're giving me way too much credit. I'm like the weirdo. I'm like the weirdest person.
No, trust me. Trust me. I see them all the time, and I'm like, oh, what's wrong with?
I'm like a weirdo 80-year-old at heart. I know.
The fourth one is, what is a dream project or collaboration for you?
Ooh, that's a good one. A dream project for me, honestly, I'm very inspired by music. So I'd say a dream project would be to do like an album cover or get the illustration job of doing like an album cover. That would be like a dream project for me for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've been lucky enough to do a few now on vinyl, and on vinyl, and it's
Oh,
Yeah, and trust
that's
me,
sweet.
even after doing illustration for years, one of my favorite things I did was do you know who Sun Little is? You should check him out.
Sounds familiar. I will check it out. A lot of names sound familiar. I'm the worst.
His name is Sun Little, and he's an amazing
I'm gonna write that down.
yeah, it's SON Little. But I had him on the podcast and we had a great talk, and then he asked me to do his album cover. I was like, yes. And it was cool because I got to do a style that is nothing like what people know of my work.
Wow.
And so it was really, really cool to just do something. So it's going to happen for you. And I think it's for me, like, it's like one of the things I love is in illustrations. I never get tired of seeing something published. I still like nerd out about it. Like, I'm like, oh, like, you know, when you see it with the print and if it's a good design, but like a vinyl, I'm like, I got it on vinyl. It's so cool.
See, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a cool thing.
That's so cool. I got to look up your piece for that. I'm going to look it up. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's probably on my website. I gotta look. It's an orange cover and he's like riding on a bike, and I did like an interesting technique with it. But it was fun. It was really cool. But yeah, that's really cool. Here's the thing. You're gonna have your bucket lists of what you want to do, right? And it's all gonna happen. You know, you just keep working. Here's the one thing, like not just for you, but like for any artist listening to this that's like wanting to be successful, and you know, again, back to Mort Drucker from Mad. He said something so simple one time that really inspired me as an artist. And it was basically like, you know, you first of all learn how to draw everything. Yep. And, you know, work hard, learn how to draw everything, boats, folds, and clothing. He went on and on about this stuff. But then he says, but just know this, most people are going to quit. They are. Yep. So as long as you love it and you have the passion and you don't give up and you work hard, even if you're not the greatest, if you do that, if you at least stick with it, you're going to be fine. You're going to get somewhere with it, because most people quit. They do. Yeah. And it's because it's not easy. It's hard. And it's, you know, it can be stressful. Yeah. Like I still, you know, sometimes I'm like, I don't know when my next paycheck's coming, you know, but you know, it's all I know, you know? Yeah. So, and you have to keep pushing, keep, you know, again, hustling. But you're going to do great. I mean, your stuff's awesome. And I'm so happy that you did this podcast, and I want everyone to, if you're not following her, you're going to have to follow her. We'll get into your links in a bit, but before we go, I want to show you some fan art, because I think you're going to crack up at this.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, we got some fan art here. Hold on, let me see if you see this. Let me know if you see it.
Oh, this is so awesome.
So.
Oh my gosh! Stop.
Isn't that awesome?
That is incredible.
Yeah, this is
my gosh.
This is by Jacques Lemonnier.
That is like the best thing I've ever seen. Oh my gosh. I am so like honored to see that. Are you kidding? Wow.
I'll email these to you as well.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this is awesome. Jacques did an amazing job.
That is unreal. I've never even seen something like that. Holy cow.
It's cool, man. And
damn.
He did it fast too, because like I think it might have been the day I announced it. And he just boop, like wow.
I literally can't believe that. I need to personally thank him. Oh,
this is awesome.
That's amazing.
This is by Paula Petluani.
Oh my gosh. That is amazing.
This is like
what Picasso. The heck? This is like the best thing ever. That's amazing. Love the colors. Damn. Yeah. Wow.
Very bold.
Very. That is so cool.
And I don't know. I can't remember if she said gouache. I can't remember if it was gouache or what is, but one thing I like about this though is I like that she did like a yellow underpainting.
Yes.
And you can see it popping through in spots. It's really cool.
It's amazing. I love that cat in the background. Oh, this is just awesome.
Yeah. It's
wow. Cool. That's amazing. What a concept. I'm obsessed with these. I can't believe people took the time to do that. That is amazing.
And this is by Dominic Zeilinger. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, Dominic, it's brilliant.
Yeah. He always has like really awesome designs. I really enjoy when he sends stuff. It's pretty cool.
Wow.
See if you can see this one. This is by Pablo Salas, and I just, again, with his work, I love just like the direct line. It's just so like, it's awesome.
It's so awesome. I love the expression. I love like how it's just simple but to the point, and he just captures something in just a few strokes. That's amazing. Yeah. I gotta look up all of these artists' work. I'm so like interested. This is amazing. This is amazing. Oh my gosh.
And this is by Addison Stacy. Yeah, she's the one that asked the questions, by the way.
Wow. I'm like so moved by this. Oh my gosh. Wow. I can't believe that she would take the time to create this. Thank you. Wow. I'm like so humbled. I don't even know what to say that people would take the time to draw me. That is like the coolest moment ever. Thank you. That is really cool.
I'm glad you're loving them. This one is by Christine Varadi.
Oh my God. That's insane. That's literally insane. That is so real. What the heck?
This is I'm pretty sure she does her work on iPads or on the iPad.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with this. I am so obsessed with this. I have to see everyone's work. That's what they said. I want to go follow
I like
them.
Like it's almost like a monotone a little bit, but there's I like the subtle color. It's really cool.
The palette, it's beautiful, and I love the texture in the background. That's kind of like stipple. I love it.
Yeah,
love it.
Here's the last one by Juan Gastelum. And,
me and my skateboards and my coffee. Wow. That's amazing. That encompasses a lot of me in that picture. That is awesome. I mean, that's just amazing. I don't even know what else to say, but that is just amazing. Love it. Literally love it.
Now, I'm thinking that that's an alien on the coffee cup. I'm not sure because he always likes to hide an alien in his drawings, like everywhere.
Oh, that's so awesome.
But
my God.
It almost kind of looks like a panda bear as well. I don't know.
I love it.
Well, it's an alien. Yeah.
It's amazing.
And by the way, thank you everybody for submitting the work.
Yes, thank you. Oh my gosh.
But so you skateboard as well.
I do.
That's awesome. So,
that is my favorite pastime.
That's so cool. I tried to be cool and skateboard.
Yes.
Like when I was in high school, let me date myself a little bit here. So
oh yay.
When I was a senior in high school, Pulp Fiction was the movie. Okay.
Ooh.
It was like, and my parents did not want me to see that. I had to sneak at friend's house to watch Pulp Fiction. That's all you had to say. I just love that movie so much. And but it reminds me of skateboarding because all my friends skateboarded and it was like such a trend.
Wow.
The baggy jeans and the chains, we all, it was like this thing in late 90s. Mm-hmm. And then it was Rage Against the Machine and the Beastie Boys. So you just like put Beastie Boys on, what you want, and you'd be out there. And the funny thing is I couldn't, the only thing I could do is skate like on a perfectly straight, flat sidewalk. And when I got to the curb, I have to stop and pick it up, put it down. Like I could not like do anything. It was pretty terrible.
That's okay. I give you so much credit for trying. Honestly, that's awesome.
Yeah, I tried. Awesome. I tried many a time, and it's just not, like I never actually even bought one because I was like, I don't think I can commit. Like, like I was too scared I was gonna like hurt my drawing hand, like, to be honest. Like,
that's fair. I wear wrist guards, just so everyone knows. I do not advocate for artists going without wrist guards. I have a special wrist guard made that is all the way to the elbow, and I do not take it off. I look like the biggest dork, but yes, just so everyone knows, I wear a very intense metal wrist guard.
See, we are on the same wavelength. Because yeah,
Yes.
yeah, but I miss those days, good old days.
Oh, did you ever paint a skateboard?
Oh my gosh, you know what? I actually did work on a design for a skateboard.
Very cool.
But now that you say that, I don't think I ever saw it. So I don't know.
Oh, really?
It was a long time ago. Like friends of mine that have a skate shop in Chicago.
Okay.
But I don't think I ever saw what it looked like.
Oh, I'd love to see it.
Yeah. I think it was like a what do you call it? Not a werewolf, but a lichen, or is that what you call them?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Some kind of vampire or werewolf creature thing.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'll have to look for that now that I don't know.
Oh, I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I think I have it somewhere. But
Awesome.
anyways, hey, thank you so much for joining me for this. This has been a lot of fun, and I hope you had a good time. I know you were a little nervous, so I try to make it a little more fun and comfortable. People are probably like, you talk so much, Jason. Let your guests talk a little bit more.
No, not at all.
No,
Not at all.
trust me. Those are the comments I get. Like, it's like, you know what?
Oh, that's terrible. Not at all.
I'm sorry.
Not at all. And I appreciate.
I can't help it.
I really appreciate that I definitely was nervous. I've never done a podcast, obviously, like yours before. I mean, what the heck? I can't even believe I'm here. So that was an amazing time. And please just I'm so grateful to you and everyone who listened and everyone who sent in those amazing drawings. I'm like in awe that someone would take the time to draw me. That's like the craziest thing I think I've ever seen.
And I will send those to you, by the way.
Wow.
Why don't you let everybody know like where they can find you and follow you, and everybody please check out her stuff out. It's awesome. Yeah, take it from here. Take it from here, sister.
I think the best place to probably find me is my website, JulietSchreckinger.com. I'm sure that my name, I know Schreckinger is a hard one. I'm sure it'll be like written on the podcast. And
right
that's it's a long one. Also my Instagram, I do treat it kind of like a gallery. I basically just post, my recent work and upcoming shows. So that's a good place to find it too. Juliet Schreckinger. On Twitter, it's Schreckinger Art because Juliet Schreckinger was too long of a handle, sadly. And yeah, and that's, I'd say, the best place to find me. Awesome.
And by the way, before we go, I said I was going to tell you this before. It had to do with your name.
Oh yes.
A memory popped in my head, and I thought you would think it was funny. So I'm sure people when you're in school, they call you Shrek and stuff like that.
All the time. Okay. All the time.
Well, I was just going to let
Yes.
you know that, I never cry in movies or get emotional. Maybe every once in a while I feel a little lump in my throat, but I'm like, suppress it, push it way down, but after I had kids, having kids like melted my heart into mush, and now I cry during car commercials. Like I'll see a car commercial about like a new whatever special Tesla or whatever, and it's just emotional, like people are like grandmas and stuff, and I'm like, oh god, but
that's awesome.
But what I was gonna say is I cried at Shrek 4. Okay, do you know how embarrassing and weird that is to cry?
That's awesome. That's awesome. You're a sentimental guy. That's awesome. Shrek's emotional. Shrek makes us all cry. That's
I mean, I was sitting at the movie theater, and Shrek, he lost his wife and kids, like he wished them away, and I was like crying, and my daughter looks at me, she goes, Dad, are you crying? I was like, crying in a Shrek movie.
I love that. Honestly, that's amazing. Like, I have so much more respect for you after hearing that story. That's amazing.
Well, thank you. And I will leave everyone with that. Everyone have a good week, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much for everyone, and thank you, Jason. You're the best.
Aw.
You want answers? The truth shall set you truth.